Welcome to the Rich Report, a podcast with news and information on high-performance computing. Today, my guest is from Nimbus Data. We have the founder and CEO, Thomas Isakovitch, and welcome to the show, Tom.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Tom, thanks for coming on the show today. I was looking through your slide deck, and your company, Nimbus Data, offers something called intelligent flash storage. What do you mean by that?
Well, so Nimbus has developed a family of intelligent flash-based storage systems. We see flash as a game-changing technology in the data center, and really data centers being reinvented over the next several years around flash storage as opposed to traditional spinning disk storage. This reinvention is for the best. It's going to significantly improve performance of storage and dramatically improve efficiency and the green factor in data centers. So on slide 2, in a nutshell, Nimbus is the leading provider of sustainable storage. Sustainable storage is a revolutionary platform that provides intelligent, scalable, and efficient solid-state-based storage for next-generation data centers. And we chose this term sustainable storage really to connote the two key features of sustainability. First being performance, and how do you sustain maximum performance in increasingly I/O-bound environments. And then also, how do you build a sustainable infrastructure, one that's power efficient and does not create an exorbitant total cost of ownership like conventional solutions can do. So a bit about the history of Nimbus. We were founded in 2006. The company is based in San Francisco. It's privately held and profitable. We have a number of marquee customers ranging from government customers like the Department of Defense and several agencies within it, firms like Lockheed Martin and L3 Communications, as well as traditional commercial applications. For example, one of our customers is McAfee. We also do work in cloud computing. For example, one of our customers is Nifty, a large ISP based in Japan. We have an international footprint from the U.S. and Canada across Europe and Asia. We've won numerous awards for our products, most exciting of which was winning Product of the Year from Storage Magazine just several months ago, and also being noted among the top startups in the storage landscape. So slide 4 here shows really the problem, and I think in a very, very clear and poignant way. Storage performance simply has not kept up with the rest of the IT infrastructure. While CPUs and memory and networks and buses have all grown in performance anywhere from 12 times to 100 times what they were 10 years ago, storage performance has really been at a standstill. To put things in perspective, today the fastest hard drive remains a 15,000 RPM hard drive, the same as was the speed back in the year 2000. And to have kept pace, hard drives would have to be 500,000 RPM drives today. And, well, it's rather clear that's never going to happen between physics and other challenges. It just will not occur. So there needs to be some new technology. And the solution that we propose, called sustainable storage, is a 100% solid-state memory-based storage system. So there are no hard drives. Everything is flash memory. And as a result of this design, the performance, because it's flash memory, is truly astonishing. We can deliver up to 16 million IOPS in a rack, or 800,000 IOPS in a single system. We can deliver up to 160 gigabytes per second of throughput in a rack, or 8 gigabytes per second per system. And we can deliver this performance with 80% lower power usage and 60% higher rack density than conventional disk arrays. Now, what's so disruptive about our technology is that we've engineered the solution and purpose-built it from the ground up for flash. That means the hardware and the software in the system were engineered entirely around the unique challenges and benefits of flash technology. And Nimbus also offers comprehensive software for simple, easy enterprise storage management built into the product. But most compelling is the acquisition cost. Historically, flash has cost anywhere from 5 to 10 times more per gigabyte than disk arrays, and this has prevented flash adoption. But with Nimbus, we've achieved an acquisition cost that's rather comparable to the acquisition cost of 15,000 RPM disk arrays. And I'll talk further about how we accomplish this very, very big goal in a little bit. And we can go to the next slide. So from a system architecture perspective, the Nimbus is a modular design. It consists of rack mount systems available in 3 capacities, 2.5, 5, and 10 terabytes of flash storage. And the system is scalable on demand up to 250 terabytes using a stacking interconnect that's built into the system. Now, also interesting on our design is this non-blocking internal architecture. Because flash is so fast compared to conventional disk, we had to engineer a new kind of backplane in the system to be able to drive the kind of performance that flash is capable of. And this non-blocking design is unique compared to traditional disk arrays, which have quite a bit of blocking. That hasn't been an issue with them because of their moderate performance. But with flash, this becomes a significant issue. So we've engineered this non-blocking design. And next, we support a variety of network connection types, whether it's 10 gigabit or gigabit Ethernet, as well as 8 gigabit fiber channel, and now 40 gigabit InfiniBand as well. So for HPC environments that are searching for a native InfiniBand flash storage system, the Nimbus is an exciting option. Now, one of the concerns about flash technology, despite its incredible performance and efficiency, has been the question of reliability and endurance. Well, Nimbus has spent a lot of time in this area developing a flash module that is very reliable. In fact, 80% more reliable than a traditional spinning disk. And we accomplish this by using very high-grade silicon combined with intelligent wear leveling technology to manage the flash carefully and to ensure that a traditional use case will deliver 7 to 10 years of enterprise life. We also take advantage of technologies such as trim, RAID, and hot swappability to provide familiar removability of the flash modules in the event of a failure. And because of RAID technology, there's no data loss and no interruption to user access should a flash module fail. So the second half of our solution, of course, is the software. The hardware is critical, but the software is just as critical, if not even more so. And Nimbus has developed a purpose-built operating system we call Halo that is embedded within our flash storage arrays. Now, at the heart of this operating system is our file system. Our file system is a 64-bit file system. And the reason that's important is because it enables very high scalability and for that scalability to be non-disruptive. We've also engineered a unique approach in the file system to align writes around the unique page sizes of flash. This is key. With a traditional disk array, you have hard drives, and hard drives work differently. They work based on blocks. Flash, however, works based on pages. And so it's essential that a file system really understand that it's working with flash and not disk. That will help maximize the durability of the system in the long run. And so Nimbus has very exciting technology in this respect. Of course, as I mentioned, we provide RAID and comprehensive data protection features and the simplicity of unified block and file storage on a single system. So the Nimbus system can be shared as both a SAN as well as a NAS system. And finally, we have 50% less capacity overhead than traditional storage arrays. You may be familiar with traditional storage arrays that have quite a healthy tax on them in the form of capacity lost. For example, you may purchase a 20 terabyte array and find out that you only have about 11 terabytes usable and wonder where those 9 terabytes mysteriously went. Well, much of that in a traditional system is lost to file system overhead. That's not the case with the Nimbus, however. We're much more efficient in how we utilize the physical capacity. Now, because we're unified storage, we support iSCSI, Fiber Channel, SRP, NFS, and CIFS protocols. So for HPC environments that are looking for a SAN, we have that protocol support. If you're also looking for traditional NFS capability, we have that support as well. Version 2, 3, and 4 of NFS are supported. And we also support CIFS. So for environments that are working, for example, in the oil and gas sector that have a lot of Windows-based workstations for seismic processing, the SMB2 support is very exciting. So in addition to these features, Nimbus also provides comprehensive data protection. That includes snapshotting capability, replication software, and high availability failover. These technologies are designed to provide disaster recovery and nonstop data access without having to rely on third-party appliances or third-party software licenses. This technology is also built into the Nimbus system at no additional cost. So from a simplicity of licensing perspective, it's quite exciting that our customers do not have to worry about licensing fees associated with different software features. Our solution provides comprehensive data management as well, and one of the key features we offer is deduplication. Now, deduplication is a technology whereby the storage system only stores unique data. And by only storing unique data and no duplicate data, you can dramatically reduce the capacity requirements on the storage side. In some cases, we found this reduction to be up to 5 to 1, so it's very, very significant. And our approach is to dedupe the data in real time. So this is done in line without having to run a post-process or overnight job as some conventional systems require. Now, we also provide thin provisioning, and this maximizes the efficiency of storage consumption by only allocating blocks in real time as they're necessary. And finally, we also provide encryption. This is exciting technology that allows you to encrypt the data on the Nimbus system so that even if the system were to be physically compromised, the data is secure. In terms of administration tools, we provide a very easy-to-use command line interface that is fully scriptable. And we also provide a very intuitive web interface that is point-and-click simplicity for provisioning storage. We even have a mobile management interface, which is quite exciting, that allows you to leverage your iOS devices to manage and monitor the status of your Nimbus infrastructure. And because we've tested our solution with major business applications like VMware and Oracle, you can be sure that it will work in your existing environments without many modifications, or frankly, with any modifications. To existing applications, we look like traditional storage, so there's no application-specific customization necessary. So I promised to review acquisition cost as part of our solution. And this, I think, is an important analysis that is often overlooked in the storage procurement process. Much time is focused on the cost of the hardware. How much does it cost per gigabyte? And it's true, if you were to compare the cost of 15,000 RPM disk arrays to the purely hardware cost of flash, without a doubt, flash commands a premium. It's a premium technology in performance and efficiency and commands that premium in price as well. But that's not the whole story. To look at acquisition cost, you must consider all the elements, not just hardware, but capacity overhead. You also must consider the cost of software licenses, and you have to consider the cost of the first year of maintenance. And in these respects, Flash, particularly the Nimbus solution, can make up for the higher cost of hardware to actually achieve a lower total acquisition cost. For example, as this table shows, we have 50% less overhead on capacity. That translates into dollar savings. And because our software is included at no cost, that also translates into a significant savings. And finally, because of the reliability of Flash, that allows our maintenance costs to be substantially less, and that also translates into savings for the end user. So you can see that even on a purely acquisition cost basis, it is possible today with Nimbus for Flash to compete with the cost of disk. So let's advance to the next slide, and we'll take this further and look at the 5-year total cost of ownership of, say, 10 terabytes of storage. Well, if you apply the same acquisition cost calculation from the prior slide, you'll see that the Nimbus solution is about the same cost, maybe slightly less in acquisition than a conventional 15K disk array. But if you also then calculate the cost of support, you can see that we're now quite a bit less expensive. In fact, we're about 20 to 25% less expensive on 5-year fixed cost. And that's not even considering the variable costs. Those are the killers that can come back and really haunt the data center architect. The money that is spent on power consumption and spent on cooling costs. Well, because Nimbus is based entirely in Flash, and because Flash technology consumes 80% less power, we can pass this power savings on to end users. And because the Nimbus solution generates much less heat because of this decreased power consumption, that translates into significantly less cooling needs. Now, depending on where your data center is located and what country you may be based in, the dollar value of power and cooling can vary. But without a doubt, we can all agree that this kind of power reduction and cooling savings is significant dollars back into your pocket. So I've been focused solely on cost and efficiency, but let's now look at the performance, because at the end of the day, flash is about performance, and that is the problem that needs to be solved, storage performance. Well, what does performance mean in dollars? Well, there are many ways you can measure the value of storage performance. One is to look at a cost per I/O, another is to look at a cost per megabyte per second, and the final approach is to look at the cost of latency. Well, if you look at the I/O performance of the Nimbus solution at 800,000 IOPS, we are about 40 times better than a conventional array. But because we also do it at a fraction of the cost of a conventional array, that creates a significantly better cost per I/O factor. And a similar analysis applies to cost per megabytes per second. You can see the greater throughput of the Nimbus solution combined with the lower cost of the Nimbus solution yields a very competitive result. And perhaps most importantly is the cost of latency. You know, the typical server over a 3-year life will generate about 100 million IOs to storage. Well, with a traditional array, those IOs could take about 15 milliseconds. But with a Nimbus flash system, they take less than a millisecond. In fact, they just take 0.2 milliseconds. If you do the arithmetic and work out how much time is lost for these 100 million IOs over 3 years at 15 milliseconds compared to 0.2 milliseconds, you'll find that it's significantly in the favor of flash. And if you apply the rather conservative cost estimate of $100 an hour being the value of time, well, you can see that there's a significant financial savings by going with a Nimbus flash solution with regards to latency. So a key part of our announcement here is an unveiling of a major customer win for Nimbus, and that is with eBay. eBay was facing a challenge to accelerate how quickly they could create virtual machines for their engineering and QA organization. They also face a challenge in that they want to standardize their virtualization infrastructure into a pod-like approach, a pod consisting of blade servers, storage, and networking equipment. And for each pod, they knew that they could support a certain number of virtual machines. As the virtual machine requirements increased, they simply deployed new pods. Now, the goals of these pods were to be very high performance, cost effective, and of course, very power efficient and rack space efficient. Well, with their existing environment, they had quite a large investment in conventional disk-based storage, several petabytes worth, as a matter of fact, and thousands of hosts running VMware. And they looked at using caching solutions or tiering solutions from their current providers, but were left unconvinced. The reason they were left unconvinced was because caching solutions and tiering solutions really are one-dimensional in what they solve. They only look at performance. And even further, they only look at performance if it happens to be in cache or if it happens to be in the proper tier. Of course, if the data is not in cache or not in the proper tier, the performance is no better. In fact, could actually be worse with these kinds of solutions than a conventional disk array. So with the Nimbus solution, there's no such concept as tiering or caching because the whole system is based in flash. In fact, you can think of the Nimbus system as just one giant cache. Everything is flash memory. So we win big time on performance. We deliver consistently high performance. And of course, we also deliver the efficiency, the low power, and the rack density. And as I pointed out, we deliver it at a very competitive acquisition cost. eBay started with just one of our systems, and now just several months later, they have a dozen Nimbus systems deployed and 100 terabytes of flash storage. Now, 100 terabytes may not seem like quite so much in the HPC community, but with regards to flash, that is a rather large deployment of flash. In fact, one of the largest deployments of flash that we're aware of for virtualization. So clearly this technology has matured to the point where large-scale flash deployments are possible. George Crump at Storage Switzerland is one of the most respected analysts in storage, and what he noted about the Nimbus solution was the fact that it was really the first purely flash-based storage system that had all the software features of a full-blown SAN and NAS product. And that really makes it such a compelling solution for data centers dealing with I/O-bound workloads. So what are the use cases? Well, to be candid, the use case for our solution is anywhere where you would consider traditional high-performance disk arrays. Given our acquisition cost being so competitive and the software being so complete, you could deploy us wherever you may have previously thought of deploying disk. But opportunities that are particularly compelling for flash include virtualization, databases, cloud computing, high-performance computing, and streaming. Now, focusing specifically on high-performance computing and streaming, these are environments that may, on one end, need very high I/O performance, and on the other end, may need very, very high throughput performance, depending on the application. We speak to many customers in the HPC vertical that are faced with challenging Oracle database requirements that generate a lot of I/O. Flash from Nimbus is a great solution for that. On the other hand, streaming, the ability to deliver large throughput performance, is another very key advantage of our solution. As I mentioned, we can deliver 8 gigabytes per second of performance in a single system. That would otherwise require racks and racks of disk to do. So this is a very exciting use case as well for the Nimbus technology. In terms of support, Nimbus is a global organization, so we have support coverage wherever your business is, and that is available both next business day as well as same-day on-site service. Our solutions are very simple to install. In fact, virtually all of our customers install the Nimbus systems themselves and are up and running in a day. So in conclusion, I'd like to summarize by reiterating that flash changes everything. Storage for over 10 years has been at a standstill, and now we have this phenomenal technology that is truly 50 times or more faster than disk. But it's not so simple to take advantage of it. You need new kinds of hardware and new kinds of software to truly take advantage of it. And if you engineer those kinds of solutions, as Nimbus has, you can dramatically reduce the total cost of ownership of storage, improve efficiency, and dramatically increase performance. Now, Nimbus as a company is a proven company that is a very solid investment. The company is profitable. We have over 200 customer deployments. Our 100-plus terabyte deployment at eBay, among the world's largest for flash. And at our core, we're committed to technology leadership, integrity, and fantastic service. So with that, I'd like to conclude my synopsis of Nimbus and open it up for your questions.
So Tom, you've been out there in the market for a while with flash products. Has the conversation shifted from the virtues of flash to where and when to best deploy it?
Well, there's different ways to take advantage of flash. You can use an SSD, a drive, that has a traditional 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch form factor. Or you can use a PCIe card that would go inside your server, connect in a slot, and provide storage that way. There's also caching appliances that cache data using flash in front of existing storage systems. And then there are full-fledged storage systems that are external, that are networkable, that are SAN and NAS capable based on flash. So Nimbus, of course, is the latter of those. We're the last one, the full-fledged SAN NAS solution based in flash. And again, it depends on your use case. What we find is that SAN and NAS deployments are really, what's industry leading with regards to an enterprise deployment and what customers want to do in the enterprise because of the shareability and the scalability. You can't really get that with a PCIe card. You can't really get that with just a drive. So a system-level approach is key. Now, as long as you're doing a system-level approach, the software is just as important as hardware. And if you look out on the market and really dig under the covers, very few flash systems actually have much software associated with them. Nimbus, on the other hand, has a full operating system that provides all of the data protection and data management capabilities of a high-end array. And then finally, it also comes down to that acquisition cost. Most of the incumbent vendors really are not interested in offering flash at a competitive price point to disk.
So Tom, is it fair to say that there's a lot of momentum in the flash storage space at this time?
Well, definitely the enthusiasm around flash is higher than it ever has been. I think Whereas a year ago, many people were envisioning flash as a complementary technology, more and more people are envisioning flash as a replacement for disk. And in fact, many have gone so far as to say that the writing is on the wall for the future of the 15K and 10K disk drive, that it's over. And it's an inevitability that flash will eventually squeeze those devices out of the market, and that the market will actually simplify to a scenario where flash is used for primary storage and SATA or cloud storage is used for everything else, and that you don't have such a complex tiering of 5 or 6 different storage devices. You basically have 2, flash and bulk SATA. Now, in high-performance computing, it's interesting because predominantly bulk SATA storage has been used. Those environments need petabytes of capacity, and to do it with flash or even with high-performance disk would be extremely expensive. But there also is a segment of the HPC market that is very keen on the performance aspects of their storage and are looking carefully at flash. I would also say that one of the persistent concerns, although it is much less than it was a year ago, it's still there, is in how you manage endurance. How do you ensure that these solutions will sustain a 5-year or greater lifespan? The Nimbus solution, because we provide a full system, guarantees that. We have the software and the intelligent hardware all designed to work together in a purposeful way to really deliver on that endurance. And that's more than you can say for buying a standalone drive. It's very difficult for a drive by itself to manage its endurance, whereas a full system such as ours certainly can.
So Tom, not to talk too much about your competitors, but there was a recent IPO with a flash storage company, and the price of that IPO went way beyond expectations. How is that affecting you and your operations?
Well, I think it demonstrates the enthusiasm for flash being higher than ever, and the potential that investors see in this really being a game-changing technology in perhaps one of the most profitable and lucrative aspects of IT, period. I mean, if you look at the technology transitions of storage over the past 10 years, for example, you had the emergence of iSCSI in the 2003 to 2005 timeframe. Then you had the emergence of deduplication. Then you had the emergence of scale-out storage and things like this. And actually, if you look at each of these three, iSCSI, deduplication, these were mid-tier focused. In fact, deduplication was actually focused on backup. Yet they still turned out to be, billion-dollar opportunities. iSCSI turned out to be a billion-dollar opportunity as well. So now we're looking at flash, and this is going right at the real treasure, primary storage. This is the most lucrative, largest, most, I think, significant investment, most expensive investment in storage. And this is a possibility now for flash to really replace this. So I think folks are saying, yes, this is game-changing, and there's a lot of potential. Now, there's also, I think, a lack of many publicly traded flash companies, that's for sure. So to the extent that folks want to invest in flash, they really don't have many options on the public markets. And I also believe it's still unclear who the long-term winners will be. The flash market, whether we all agree or not, is still very much controlled by the companies that actually manufacture the flash silicon, the folks like Toshiba and Intel and Samsung and Micron and Hynix. And the question is, as long as they're developing the silicon, how much profit potential will there be in a purely hardware offering? There's some uncertainty there. Nimbus, I think, is an exception to this rule because so much of our value is actually in the software of our solution as opposed to the hardware. Hardware is value too, but the software gives us, I believe, a more sustainable long-term advantage and business model.
So, Tom, you were a technologist before you were an executive. Where do you think this flash stuff is going?
Well, I'm very excited about this technology. You can probably hear it in my voice. I love this stuff. It's really so game-changing and so exciting, and I feel like I'm a broken record when I say that, but it really is exciting. For us, for Nimbus, this really just is the tip of the iceberg, to be candid. The S-Class, particularly our second generation that we're just now releasing, really has unparalleled performance. But we're not sitting still. Part of our future is in how do you build even more scalable solutions? How do you build even higher performance solutions? And how do you really tackle efficiency? We've only just begun to tackle what's possible as far as density and efficiency with flash. So I think there are a lot of legs here. This is going to be a 3 to 5 year solid growth market at the very least. Now, 5 years from now, things can change. The geometries of flash, as they shrink, that presents more and more engineering challenges. It may be difficult for flash to continue to multiply in density, for example, after the year 2015 or 2016. There are also other technologies on the horizon, and some of them have been on the horizon for a long time, so they're no longer certain. There are others. DRAM, of course, is still there. Phase change memory is a potential option. So, but I think for the most part, most people agree that's 2015 or later kind of technology. So for the next 3 to 5 years, it's a flash world.
Well, it's certainly sounding that way. Well, thanks, Tom, once again for coming on the show today. That's it for the Rich Report, folks. Stay tuned for more news and information on high-performance computing.